All right, peace and blessings, and welcome to another episode of the Author Spotlight Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast. I'm your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days, and I have the pleasure of having Ellen McIlhenney with me. I've actually known Ellen for a very, very long time. We'll get into that story in just a minute. But Ellen, if you don't mind introducing yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
So, yes, my name is Ellen McIlhenney, and I am a CFO services consultant to small businesses. I've been doing this for, I think it's about 5 years now. It's hard for me to believe. And I came to doing this because I worked as a CFO at a mid-sized company for, 18 years. And we did some growth through acquisition. And I saw that a lot of small business owners don't have a good handle on what the value of their business is and when they go to do an exit strategy. And so I felt like people needed a little bit more education on how to prepare your business for sale and how to do an exit that you're happy with. So that's why I got into what I'm doing, and I just absolutely love it. I'm working with several small businesses, and it's just a lot of fun. And we're also doing back office bookkeeping services now. So it's just a whole lot of fun, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Well, I love it, and I'm so excited to have you on because, as I stated when I gave my intro, you and I have known each other for quite some time. I remember I was working for the Boy Scouts of America, and I recruited you to be a part of my Learning for Life team, and you came and you served, and I just appreciated the relationship that we established, and then ended up connecting you to a fellow coach, Rita Ricks, and that relationship blossomed, and then I had an opportunity to have a conversation with your son, who became an Eagle Scout. So we've known each other for quite some time. But Ellen, tell us about your book. What's the name of your book, and tell us what your book is about?
So my book it's called The Big Turnaround, and it's a business novel. And I decided to write this business novel, first of all, just because I think novels are an easier read, and I'm a big fan of like Patrick Lencioni and John Warrelou, who wrote the book Built to Sell. But about 25 years ago, a manager of mine gave me a book called The Goal, and it's by a guy named Eliyahu Goldratt, and it was one of the first business novels, and it just impacted me because it was all about throughput and how to make like a manufacturing facility work. And so I always wanted to write a novel, and there's a month of November is National Novel Writers Month, and there's an organization called NaNoWriMo that they help you write a novel in 1 month. And so you have to write 1,600 words a day for 30 days in order to get around a 50,000 word book. And so I joined this program, and I was able to write this book in 30 days. And it's just, it's sort of like the perfect storm of how bad management can hurt a company, and how if people come together, they can turn it around. And it's based on, experiences. It's based on interviews I've done with other people. And it was just a lot of fun to write. And I hope, people who have read it take something from it. And I try to put a little humor in it. So I just, like I said, I just had a lot of fun writing it.
Did you ever think that you would become an author? I mean, was that a desire of yours, or was it just something that happened as a result of life and your career?
Well, I've always liked to write. I was one of the first people to start blogs. Well, one of the first people in my circle to start a blog.
Yeah.
And that was about 12 or 13 years ago. I started a blog about my oldest son who has special needs. And it was sort of a chronology of his life. And I went through everything we had been through raising this wonderful son who has a fair amount of special needs, and he's quite involved. But I got a lot of feedback from it, and got a fairly large following, and people were like, man, you're a fairly good writer. And I'd heard that before. So it kind of helped me with my confidence level. And so I thought my first book, I started a book about Ben, and I couldn't see myself going anywhere with it. The blog was enough for me, but I knew that I wanted, at that point, I just really wanted to write a book. And it's funny, this one just kind of came to me overnight. And so yes and no. I mean, for a long time I've wanted to do it, but I always thought that it was something that I would never be able to attain.
Yeah. So tell us, who is the book for, and what kind of impact will they get from reading it?
Well, this is certainly from my niche audience, which is small business owners. And it's one of those things when I do a Facebook Live, and I've done a blog in the past on tips for small business owners. And one of the things I tell people is, I've got all these tips for you, but you're probably only going to take away a couple of things that resonate with you. So really my target audience is small business owners who want to improve their company, who want to improve the value of their company, because a lot of what I talk about in the book are things that are value drivers, like building a strong management team, and having a group of advisors to help you with your business, and to not micromanage. That's my big one.
What would you say was your biggest challenge in writing your book?
Well, one of the things that I have trouble with is, taking the time to sit down and do something like that, and the focus. And that's why I had to join this group, NaNoWriMo, because they kind of put your feet to the fire. I didn't do 1,600 words every single day, but they, urged me to catch up when I was behind. And so I think that was the biggest thing. I don't know that it would have ever been completed had I not participated in that program.
So there's tremendous value and accountability. Talk a little bit about the impact that the book has had since you've written it, because your book has been out for quite some time, correct?
It's been out for, I guess, about 3.5 years. Yeah. And I think the biggest impact it had on me is, anybody who has a book, and, I don't recommend writing a book just to have it as sort of a calling card.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to have something that you're kind of passionate about. And I am passionate about helping small business owners. But it's one of those things that, you just kind of feel. And that's how I have to put it.
And so now that your book is out, it's been out for 3 years. Mm-hmm. What's on the horizon for you? Like, what are you looking to do next?
Well, I've got another book in the works that is actually, I started writing it before I wrote this book. It's a nonfiction. That's probably why it's still being written, but it's more of a tips book. And what I've done is I've kind of taken all my blog posts, my vlog posts for the past 6 years, and I've kind of compiled them into a book. And I back up each of the tips with a little story that either comes from my own experience or from experiences that other people have had that they've told me about. And so it's like, 101 small tips and tales for small business owners. That's not the title, but that's what the title started to be, but yeah, it's evolving.
I love
so
it.
I'm hoping it'll be out soon. I've actually got somebody that I've hired to kind of help me push me over the finish line, because my business has grown quite a bit since I started writing it, and I just need some help for time management to get it actually finished. So,
have you found that writing a book has helped you to grow your business as well?
Yeah, I can't say that it has grown my business, but I think that it has helped in the area of credibility. and you talk about how has it changed changed things since I wrote it. And that's probably the biggest thing is anytime you can say, well, I've written a book, people, I don't know, people think of you a little bit differently if you've gone through all the hassle it is to get that book over the finish line. So, yeah.
So what words of wisdom would you give to an aspiring author that, is on the cusp of making a decision to get started? What advice would you give them?
Well, first of all, I would say just sit down and do it. And one of the things it's hard for people to do is to get started, and that's why I recommend to people to set up a time every day, maybe an hour or two starting out. And whether or not you are feeling it that day, just start writing, just put some words down on paper. And sometimes that would help me kind of unblock that little roadblock that happens in your head sometimes. And so, that's the number one thing is putting aside some time and showing up and doing the work. And second of all, don't make it as complicated as it seems, because in this day and age, anyone can write a book and get it published, especially with organizations like yours. Everybody, traditional publishing was always so daunting for everyone. And that used to be the only way to do it. And nowadays, there are so many ways that you can get your book to market. And you can do it very quickly.
Yeah.
And you know that.
Yeah.
You preach that, don't you?
Amen.
And so it's just, I say to people, it's not as hard as you think it is, but you need to talk to the right people like you and to sit down and just get it done and reach out for some help if you're having trouble getting it completed. That's what I ended up having to do.
Speaking of reaching out for help, tell everybody, how can they connect with you? So obviously you have your book. Tell us the name of your book again, and how can they get access to that? But what if they want to get access to your business? How can they do that? Okay,
so the best way to get in touch with me is to email me at ellen@cfoplusservices.com, and that's right back there. And my website is cfoplusservices.com. It shows what I offer, and then has a scheduling part that you can actually schedule an appointment with me. And then, just give me a call, or, shoot me an email, and I'll return your email and you can get in touch with me. The book is The Big Turnaround, and it actually has its own website, thebigturnaround.com. So you can go out and learn a little bit more about the book. It has a trailer and some, a small description of the book out there. So
I love it. I love it. So as we land the plane, Ellen, there's one question I ask everyone that comes on to the podcast, and it's this: if you had the opportunity to go to any place in the world to write your next best-selling book, where would you travel if self-publishing 30 Days was paying for it?
I think that I would go to, if you'd asked me this question a couple of years ago, I would have said Australia, but I'm not sure about Australia. This whole COVID thing's got, is kind of crazy. So yeah. I would say Hawaii. I've been there once many years ago, and I would just love to sit out on a beach in Hawaii and have time to write a book. I could really, I could do that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Ellen, thank you so much for investing the time to interview with me on the Author Spotlight. For those of you who are listening or watching, definitely reach out to Ellen. Her contact information will be in the show notes, and let her know that you heard about her on the Self-Publishing 30 Days Author Spotlight podcast. I'm your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days, where we believe that this is the year for your new book. Be encouraged, be blessed, but most of all, continue to operate in faith, because your gift will make room for you. And we'll see you next episode. Peace. Thank you, Rob.